Hello and welcome to MalMakes. Today we're doing a painting based on Luigi's mansion. This is the full version. If you're interested in the time-lapse, you can click on the card here. Otherwise, let's get started. This is actually a painting I've wanted to do for a while, but it really works best in October, so I've been saving it. Now, my plan here for my line drawing is just to show you the layout. It's not showing you any color or value or how anything's going to look, just the placement of all of the items I want to put in the canvas. Now, I've scaled the mansion down a little bit, put it on the right third, and I've made all of these bare deciduous trees bigger. So it's more in the woods, it's a bit spookier. I'm going to have some fog back here in the deeper layers of this little forest I've made. So what I need to do first is fill in the sky, and I'm going to be doing a dark sky because it should be nighttime, it's creepier. So I have some Payne's Gray, which is ultramarine blue and carbon black. It's kind of like a dark blue-gray color, and I'm going to be mixing titanium white with that to lighten it up as I get closer to the horizon area for the fog. And then once I'm happy kind of with that transition between the two and it looks foggy and nighttime, I'm going to start building in some of these bare deciduous trees to make the layers of the forest so it's deeper and darker and scarier. I had done my first layer with the Payne's Gray and titanium white, and it was too transparent. You can kind of see that a little bit in this space right here, where I can really see all of the brush marks going back through it. And it was okay, but that's not the look I'm going for with this painting. I wanted it to be a lot more solid to really show these misty clouds here under the fog. So I mixed up more Payne's Gray with a little bit of carbon black and started painting my sky again, and then brought more titanium white in to fill in all of this fog. And it looks a lot more solid, a lot more of the look I'm going for this part. So next I need to start building in the trees. Now the hill is going to sit kind of in this area here, and I do want trees to come up from behind the hill and behind the mansion. So I'm just going to take my chalk pastel and then rough in some trees in this area until I'm happy with them. Fill those in carbon black, bring in some more fog along the base, and just keep building the trees that way until I feel like there's a good amount and they're kind of like not going to be in front of the house once I get further forward here, and then I can start to work on the house itself. I drew the mansion in chalk and then blocked it in with liquid acrylic. And I'm really happy with how things look. I have made a few changes, mainly the windows. The windows looked very strange. In-game, they're really tiny compared to the size of the wall, and there is an absurd number of them on the building. So I made some that fit a bit more for how I've drawn the mansion, and I made myself a tracer, which is just a little piece of paper that I could trace over to make sure they were all the same size and shape. That way I can kind of start to fill them in. And I think they look good for the size of the mansion I've drawn and how they take up the wall space. So I'm just going to start by filling in parts of the mansion. Maybe doing like the walls first, and then maybe the mansard roof, and then kind of just going from there, working into smaller details like there's like little curly cues that sit under the mansard right here, and like the details on the lattice and the windows. So I'm just going to be filling a lot of that in, and there is a lot to fill in on this mansion because it is so detailed. Once I have that done, I can start to go into the foreground, but it's going to be a bit yet because there is so much here with the house. I've been working a lot on the mansion because it is the focus centerpiece of the entire thing. I started with drawing in chalk pastel, which is how this is still kind of done down here, cementing those lines with liquid acrylic, and then filling in a base color and adding texture and value to those areas. And there's a few things left. So I'm really happy with how it's looking. I just have to finish them. These horizontal pieces need to be painted gold and they'll be done. I have to do the frames around all these windows, and then the lattice work or whatever it is that goes on those to make the actual panes of glass. There's a little bit on the roof edge line here that I've redrawn in chalk, and then just finishing up the roof because it's still quite flat, so I have like the shingle effect on the roof because right now it just has these horizontal lines. But the mansion is looking really good and really spooky. I really like how the door is looking, so I'm really happy with how it's all coming together. Then I can work on the hillside and work on all of this foreground stuff, and the centerpiece of the entire piece will be done. I finished the stone fence and then the wrought iron gate, and I started by putting a brown down where I wanted it to go, and then mixed in different grays until I was happy with it. So what I mean by that is I took a darker gray color to do the grout in between all the stones, and then the shadow underneath the top edge here, and then I used a lighter gray mixed in with that brown to do just little bits of highlights on some of the stones so they look like stone texture and not just a flat surface. Then I took this paint marker, which is an empty paint marker that I fill with liquid acrylic, and I did all of the finials along the top, and then I did the actual gate, which was kind of a pain because like some of these curly cues are mirrored images of each other, and trying to divide this with all of the detail. But I think it turned out really good, so I'm really happy with all of this. The only thing I have left is to finish these foreground trees that I'm going to have and bring more of this fog forward, so it's not just a flat purple in this space. I've been adding more trees into the foreground space in front of where this like gate and fence are, because they're going to be the ones here. Now I need to add a little bit more fog on top of like this one, for example, and then the one around the side, just to put them back there behind the fog, because the other ones I've done that way. Now I've been working a little bit too fast. I do the tree and then I do some fog, and then I would do more trees and some fog, and kind of going back and forth. But on some of these, they were a little too wet yet, and as I started to put the fog on top, it started to like bleed the carbon black from the tree into the white fog mist, and that wasn't going to work. So I had to kind of like dab at it and dry it so it wouldn't mess up. That's why I'm leaving these ones to dry for a little bit longer before I put a little bit more there. I'm doing them the same way I did the background ones, with a liquid carbon black and just drawing in the trunk and all of the limbs, and they look really nice. And I thought about adding some more because in my sketch I had a lot more over here, but I kind of like the way it's leading you to the mansion right now. I don't want to get too much in here that's going to take up a lot of space and just add more clutter to this area. So I'm happy with how it looks right now. So once this is dry for the tree trunk here, I can add just a little bit more fog along the base, maybe touch up a couple more of these, and it's done. And we're done. We have the mansion from Luigi's Mansion. If you're interested in this piece, you can buy a poster or a phone case, or bid on this original canvas. There's links down below. Also, consider supporting me on Patreon. You can find out more at supportmal.com. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes of MalMakes, and I'll see you again here for another video game painting.